Hi, kids. I was diagnosed today with advanced metastatic bone and lung cancers. The prognosis is not good. I've had a good run and don't mind dying, but I do fear the pain and helplessness that come with this disease. Let me know if you want me to update you. I don't want to burden you with this needlessly. I love you very much, Dad. He didn't want to burden us with him dying. Just like him. Never wanted to be a burden. But my sister and I both got on a plane and went out to be with him. And now we're watching him die. And it's rough. He's on morphine to deal with the pain, and it's really messing with his head. Sometimes he starts speaking in Hebrew. He grew up in Israel, but there's no one here who speaks Hebrew. And his doctor, who's around death all the time, says that to people who are dying, there are only 4 things that matter. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. I've never seen anyone die before. I was prepared for it to be sad, to be heartbreaking, but I wasn't prepared for this beauty, the purity, the clarity of it, the clear perspective. What matters is so obvious. And he's dying and it's sad, but that's not all it is. There's a grace to him. He's trying so hard to be brave. And you can see he's really scared about what comes next, but he's more scared about staying here. The pain is too much. I told him that whatever happens next, I think it'll be okay. And he responds, me too. There should be equal amounts laughter and tears, according to his doctor. And I don't feel sad all the time. Once in a while I cry, it's true, but mostly it kind of seems all right. Like what's happening is what's supposed to happen. Feels like a George Harrison song. Sad, but beautiful and okay because it's the way things are supposed to go. And I keep thinking about those 4 things the doctor mentioned. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. So I asked my dad if there's anything he wants forgiveness for. He says he's worried that when we were growing up, he didn't spend enough time with us. And I tell him that I forgive him. And I ask him to forgive me for all the times I was a brat to him or hard on him, because there was plenty. And he grants me forgiveness. And I tell him he was a good dad. I tell him his life had meaning and purpose, and I thank him. I tell him I love him. I tell him I'm proud of him. I'm proud that he's my dad, and he says that he's proud that I'm his son. And then he asks me to sit next to him more. And he tells me when I'm there, he feels braver. And every once in a while, he'll laugh, and I'll be on the other side of the house, and I'll hear it, and for a split second, I'll feel like everything is fine. He's got such a big laugh. But then the moment passes, and I remember that laugh, it's just residue. It's like the warm coals left after a fire. And the healthcare worker last night told him he had a beautiful house, and that his wife was lucky. His response to her was, no, I was the lucky one. It's crazy how this process is such a stripping away. On a primal level, you see what matters. He's reverted to his mother tongue. He wants to see faces that he recognizes. He wants to sing songs he remembers. He wants his family next to him. And even when he doesn't understand what's happening, he looks at us and he trusts us, or I think that's what's happening. It just looks like he trusts us to do what's best for him. He's not hungry, but he says he'll eat if we join him. And I remember that dining together always mattered to him, that we would always eat together as a family for dinner. We spend a fun day together despite his condition. We look through family photo albums. We listen to Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash. And during the Leonard Cohen album, my dad says he has such contempt for ships and shoes. Ships and shoes? I have no idea what he's talking about. I said, really? He's like, of course, listen to the lyrics. All right then. I asked my dad what he has contempt for. He pauses and says, a shallow, meaningless life. I think maybe he's talking about himself right now, so I decided to change the subject. What do you love, Dad? Another pause. Country. You mean America? Yes. Why? Because it gave the rest of the world hope. And I think about how it takes an outsider to appreciate things sometimes. He loves America more than most people who are born here. It's like born again people, you know? Not having something at first makes you love it even more when you do find it. And that's the way he is with America. He doesn't take it for granted. It's not a flag pin kind of love. It's the type of love that's so strong you don't even talk about it. And he weakens more. The end is near. I told him that he lived the American dream. You know, he saw America in movies and decided to come here. He arrived and got to live through Greenwich Village in the 60s, and he knew no one really here in America, yet rose up the ladder through hard work and became a prosecutor and put away the bad guys and met an amazing woman and settled down in the suburbs and had children that he loved. And he built his model railroad tracks in the basement and watched Jeopardy every night, and then retired to a house on the north coast of California with a pretty view. I mean, what more could you ask for? I told him he had done well and lived a real life. And I kissed him on the forehead and said goodbye. He said okay, smiled. He looked weak and more beautiful than I'd ever seen him. And he's dead now, but it's okay. He had a good run. And today he'll be buried next to my mom near the redwoods and the ocean, and his friends will gather there and sing Amazing Grace. That was his favorite song. And I'm so grateful for this past week. I'll never forget it. And I keep thinking about those 4 things. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you.